All right, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. I got a little video today. I've done like 3 blade challenges and these challenges and this knife challenge, but today I want to do like just my favorite 3 knives. My favorite 3 knives. There's a lot of knives that I won't get rid of that are up there, like my Cold Steel SRKs. Oh man, I just love that. My Essies, my Hungless, my 6, any of the PR4, anything, all my Essies are just knives that I will never ever get rid of. There's a bunch of folders that I have that I'll just never get rid of. So this one's just going to be more of just my 3 favorite, right? And before I get started, there's a couple things. A knife that, who knows, could challenge one of my 3 favorite is going to be produced. I think he's already started over in Nepal. They already started forging it. The one that you guys have been waiting for and asking for is the D-Bad Mission 2. Yes, the Rambo 2 big Mission 1, except black, right? So it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be big and just dope. If you guys seen the Mission 1, which you have, then you'll know the Mission 2 is bigger, nastier, blacker, right? It's gonna be cool. So that one's coming out next. That's going to be dropping hopefully within a month. Also, my homegirl Liz. I did a video looking for help to get my girl Liz some votes. She's trying to be the Maxim cover girl. She's in a contest. The first video I did, she shot up to #1 in her group. And now I think, like, of all the groups, they do like the top 5, and now they're vying for it. And it's free voting. I'll put the link down there. All you do is hit vote, verify. You know, I verify with Facebook, and that's it. Just all you had to do is vote, and it's free. And you do it once a day. You know, it can be done once a day until it's over. But if you guys could, if you haven't voted, just go down there and vote. And if you have voted, vote again. But that's it. Let's help Liz get to this point. Now let's get to the blade. So I have 3 favorite blades, but I brought out 5 knives, and there's a reason. One is going to be an honorable mention blade. This one doesn't get enough play, like as far as what you guys see. I love it. I use it a lot. This is one that I made here in my shop, right? This is forged by me. I love this blade. I absolutely love this blade. I did this a while ago. Double-edged, just a nasty piece of sword turned into a nasty piece of knife. You can see the hammered dots in there, and just, it came out really cool, man. This came out really cool. So I've always been proud of this one. It's pretty comfortable in the hand, and I did you can see I banged up the rear. You know what that's from? Throwing it. I throw this a lot. But it's kind of chunky, but just awesome. This is one of those ones that I will never ever get rid of. This one, just constructed by me, and I love it. I love it. And you know, I made the cheap ass sheath, but the sheath works. And one that I didn't bring out is the Nepalese Gladiator. It's one that I did where I designed it, and it was made by Jed Hornbeek, and it's smoking hot, awesome blade. But that one's not out here. It's one of my top favorites, in my top 5. But so that one I just wanted to show. I just love that blade, man. That's my own little piece. It's awesome. So my top 3. Now I'm going to show you my top 3 favorites, but then I want to drop one and add one, because it's my favorite to use is different than my favorite to have. But number 3 of my top 3 favorite blades, this one, a lot of people are gonna already know what it is coming out of the box. It is the Case XX Bowie. This knife, it was my Grail knife for a long time. This knife gets more use camping and whatnot than probably any other knife I own. This one I take a lot. I mean, just a lot. I freaking love it. It is still crazy sharp. I never put a new edge on it. Never, not once. and it's still, woo-hoo, almost cut my skin on that one, but it's still taking off hair. That's the original edge on there. I use this thing a lot, like more than probably like Scab uses the D-Bad Preacher. We'll get into that more than anybody's ever used the D-Bad Preacher. I use this guaranteed more than anybody uses a Case XX. The company Case, when they make them, they called it the presentation buoy, and you can get it with like inscriptions and all kinds of stuff. So people think that it must just be like a display piece, but it is not. This is a real deal badass knife, and it is awesome. For someone who designs knives and has plenty of his own designs, to pick something ahead of one of something that he did, that's saying something pretty special about this damn knife. This knife is freaking awesome. So number 3 of my top favorite knives goes to the Case XX. Just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Number 2 of my top favorite knives is the first knife that I designed that went into production. Talking about Scab is my D-Bad Preacher. This thing is the prototype. It's the first one, the real deal, the big Mamba Jamba. I am getting eaten alive. This thing is awesome. I mean, just awesome to the core. My man Stefan Klaus out near Germany, he got one finally, and he's been carrying it around, and he was outside polishing it, and it freaked a bunch of people out. But it's just such an awesome freaking knife. It's an original design. It's never been done before. And that goes to, like, a lot of my designs are just like redos of things, like the way they should have been. That's the way I like to do a knife. I like to take a knife that was historically important and make it better. Just make it better. I like to do that. But sometimes I just like to do something that nobody else has done. The D-Bad Preacher is a 100% original design, and it is freaking awesome. This thing is so awesome to wield. It's just a great knife. So number 2 on my favorite knives, my favorite knives, what I just absolutely love the most, is my D-Bad Preacher, which ever since I had it done was number 1. My favorite. It's just my favorite knife, right? Before this, it was the Case. You know, you could see the progression. But I design knives. And we always have something new coming. And one of the last couple of new ones came. And boy, howdy, did it. So my number 1, and it's just got all kinds of water on the sheath now from putting it in the grass, but I mean on the grip, but it's still grippy because the boys at KHHI know how to do it. Man, the D-Bad Big Jim. This is my new all-time favorite knife. I mean, it's not even, there's not even a question. It's my favorite knife. It's my favorite sword, practically. This thing is just abso-freaking-lutely amazing. This is an amazing knife. Somebody, if you went into the, I think it's on the video for this knife, somebody just recently commented how they bought one, and they're saying the exact same thing I'm saying. It's the greatest knife they've ever picked up, they've ever owned, they've ever held. He had no idea it was going to be as good in the hand as it is. But he got it, and he freaking loves it. And there's a reason why. This thing is freaking awesome. So obviously it's my take on a Musso buoy, clearly done differently, where they have a brass guard, a brass spine guard, a triangular tang that burns into the wood. It's not a full tang, obviously, the original. It's not even close. It's polished, the original. But specs from here to here, and actual full length, as a matter of fact, is true to the one that Jim Bowie carried. even the distance from this point to this point is accurate with the original. You see a lot of people bring this all the way up to the swedge. That's not how the original went. But I wanted to keep it as true to the original as possible while still making it better. Pinning on handmade micarta was a necessary evil. Doing it true full tang, necessary. Pinned on there, necessary. And then instead of going with brass, I went with steel. And as you can see, possibly, it's all welded. Everything is welded. So it's not coming off. With most Musso style buoys or Musso style, you know, that are made the same, it's a brass guard, and if you go through something, your brass can pop off, the brass spine guard. Your brass guard can loosen and start to rattle. So you get all these things that you wouldn't want. This thing has none of it. Has none of that. This thing is on there. It's not wiggling, rattling, going anywhere. It's not popping off. It's just there. And then doing it steel polished to contrast with the black blade, but then the polished edge, it just couldn't look any better. I mean, the thing is phenomenal. The sheath, I went, because I modernized this piece, I modernized it with this sheath. You can still get it leather through KHHI, but I went with the ambidextrous Kydex sheath, and I put it on the left side because I'm a lefty. So this one right here is my new top all-time favorite knife. So I told you I was bringing out another one where if it was my favorite knife to use, like it was going to be my favorite carry knife that I was going to carry into a camp and do this and that, without a doubt, the Case XX already is one of my top campers. The Preacher is one of my top outside and go do thing knives. The Essie Hunglas is the same thing, but there's one knife that I would put above pretty much anything as far as, you know, they say if you could only have one knife, and somebody just asked me that the other day, if you could have only one knife, what would it be? And that was a really hard decision because I just showed you a bunch of knives that I love. If it came down to one knife, then this would be a completely different group. The Essie Hunglas would 100% be there because it's an amazing freaking knife. But as far the Hunglas is a little bit longer, right? And it comes down to practicality. If I could have just one that I needed to be able to carry with me all the time, no matter what I'm wearing, right? And that it would be feasible and doable to carry and use, something that I can camp with, hunt with, just hike with, personal protection, just for anything. I could use as just my cutting tool, anything. The D-Bad War Machine. This would be, and there's, with me, I'm lucky to where there's no if I could only have one. I don't have it. I don't have that situation. There's no if with me. But this thing I love using. This thing I love using. Another person just commented on this knife, I believe it was on the actual review, about how they own the K-bar and they bought this and it absolutely destroys the K-bar. I mean, just destroys it. And he had no idea that the grip was going to be so nice to where he said it feels like it's part of his hand when he holds it. And that's a pretty good testament to the designing. And I'm really proud of that. It's just a really, really great knife. Hey, it's the Johnsons. I think he has one and loves it. Either that or I let him use this one. I don't remember. It was one of the two. But he had some really, really great things to say. And sub to that guy. It's a great family-driven channel. Just great. Speaking of subs to Joe at Steel Forge and Fire Sword and Knife. Golly, Joe Love is just, I mean, he's the quintessential Japanese sword guy. Him and Carl Ruger are the Japanese swords guy, along with Samurai. I just drew a blank. Holy Moses. I'll try and remember real quick. But how did I draw a blank? The guy just came back from a horrific accident and is badass as ever. And I drew a blank. But guys like that, just awesome katana guys. But yeah, him, and don't forget Choir Boys Cutlery Outdoors, Scab, just a guy. I just sent him a package that's going to get to him pretty soon. He actually, on the same day, sent me a package, so it was kind of cool. We didn't plan it. It just happened. But the War Machine would be my last ever carry if it came down to that, where I could only have one for the rest of my life. This would be the knife. And I have a lot of knives. I have a lot of freaking knives. And to be able to confidently I'm confident, I can't say confidently, to confidently say that this is the one out of every knife I have, if I could only have one, says something about this knife. It's just freaking awesome, man. But that's it, man. Whew. So my top 3 in order are right there. Boop. With this guy being my top 1. It's weird that my top 1, if I could only have one, wouldn't even be part of my top 3, but it's just because it's a different kind of factor, right? And then there's this one. It's just something I treasure because I didn't just make it, but I made it good. I made it really good. So there you have it. My top 3 knives. Samurai Bird. Woo-hoo! I can hear the birds chirping in the background. It just popped in my head. Samurai Bird. If you guys love katanas and you've seen Carl Ruger and you've seen Joe from Steel Forge Fire Sword and Knife and you haven't seen Samurai Bird, get over to his channel. I don't know what you're waiting for. Just all great people. All right, so that's it for this. I am all done. I am Donnie B all day. Until next knife.